Are you sitting on the fence about traveling full-time? Or maybe you've just moved to a new city and are struggling with the monumental changes that have come with moving overseas for the first time? The new city, culture shock, unfamiliar surroundings, missing friends and family is enough to unsettle even the best of us. I'm here to assure you that you are not alone, as we, like many before us, have struggled on their path to becoming digital nomads. Hi, my name is Ben. Laura, Emery and I have been traveling for the last 2 years and 1 year as digital nomads. It's been a time of some incredible highs and some staggering lows, beginning with a failed English teaching campaign in Thailand, which led to crippling visa issues and a visa overstay. And if this wasn't bad enough, the stress of unemployment and the bills stacking up against us was just almost too much to bear. But what came from this was the birth of a new career and the lifestyle of being digital nomads, which truly gave us the freedom to travel all around the world. Since then, we've gone to Sri Lanka, then to the UK and Housesit all through Europe, to the icy American winters in Kansas City, and now we're finally here in the beautiful Central America. Now this video isn't just to glamorize this lifestyle, even though we are very fond of it, but more just to show you what it's like to actually live this lifestyle, the highs and the lows, and some of the things to expect, which we'll cover later on in the video. So it's been roughly about 2 years since Emery, Laura and I left Melbourne in the height of the pandemic, which turned out to be the most locked down city on the planet. And to be completely honest with you, it's taken me months to produce this video because I really lacked the inspiration to do so. At the time of originally filming this in the US, we had to travel back to Australia to visit family. The financial stress of getting there alone completely zapped me of all my creativity. But little did we know that when we were flying back to Melbourne from Kansas City, that we'd be coming all the way back here to Honduras. Now I know what you're thinking, why did we come all the way back here? Now it turns out that when we arrived in Melbourne, that we got offered the opportunity to house sit here in Honduras for 6 months. And I mean, who's gonna pass up the opportunity to stay on a tropical island in the middle of the Bay Islands? So back to the airport it was, onto another 30-hour flight, and here we are in the beautiful Guanaja in Honduras. The seclusion, the peace, and the crystal clear waters just make it an incredible place to stay, and we're so happy to be here. We want to share our experiences from all over the world, especially while we're here in Guanaja. So if you would like to keep updated, why not subscribe and hit the notification bell? This will keep you updated about all of our travels, and some of the tips and the knowledge we pick up from along the way. So welcome everybody to A Guide to Wanderlust. This is how we failed our way to becoming digital nomads. Our start becoming digital nomads was anything but a smooth one. The idea of moving to Thailand to teach English in the middle of a pandemic just seemed like a completely crazy idea, even to us. But at the time, my myotherapy business had shut down due to the height of the pandemic and Laura was already working from home. So we thought, what better time to actually head overseas and do one of the things we've been dreaming about for the last 10 years. So we checked online and we started hunting for different job opportunities when teaching English came about. So within the space of 3 months from then, we'd sold everything, packed our bags, and with about 200 pieces of legal documents, we headed to the airport to get onto a flight. One of the most amazing flights we've ever had. There were 7 people total on the entire flight. We got greeted by our names by the staff, and we slept the entire way. Arriving at Phuket at the time, in the sandbox, to have 2 weeks of quarantine before heading out to teaching duties was a welcome change from the freezing cold winter in Melbourne and the harsh lockdowns. However, this picturesque and idyllic lifestyle wouldn't continue as the English campaign failed and then my visa was in jeopardy. From here, it was just a whirlwind of stress, anxiety, and tension within the family. We didn't really know what to do or where to go, and we had mixed messages from different people and immigration officials, traveling for different offices, down to Bangkok, all the way back up to Masai. It was just a nightmare. For our grand total of 6 months in Thailand was plagued by visa issues, unemployment, and financial stress. We really had no idea what to do, no answers, and there was a massive language barrier everywhere we went. During this incredibly stressful time of not being able to sort out my visa, I also couldn't leave the country. Having 4 failed attempts at Bangkok airport, trying to leave to Cambodia, but getting denied because I had coronavirus still in my system. This adding to the financial stress. As flights needed to be rebooked, I had to keep getting PCR tests, and every time I went back to the airport, I kept getting denied, leaving us to wonder what it is we would have to do to leave the country. During this time of financial stress, I couldn't be more grateful for Laura and the position she was in with her work, providing us with the income we needed to survive in this environment. Now I know what you're probably thinking, why didn't I just go online and get one of these remote jobs? And it turns out that they're actually not that easy to find, and it's hard to know where to look without any prior experience. So for months of searching and not really having anywhere to look, anywhere to go, or any real leads, I ended up just landing odd jobs here and there to tread water just for the next month or so. But this wasn't enough to get us by month to month, or even just leave the country if we wanted to. It was at this point that I decided to start handing out my resumes all over the world to see what I could find, to see if I could find a job as a myotherapist or a physical therapist or a personal trainer in any other continent on the planet. Funnily enough, I ended up finding a remote job with Upwork, where I became a blogger and a fitness writer, landing 2 separate jobs that would give me the ability to work from home, from a desk, by the pool, wherever I was going to be. It was at this point that I became a digital nomad, and that's when our life truly changed forever. This would give us the ability to leave the country, give us a fresh start, and be able to travel without actually having to worry about an income wherever we went. So with that, we decided to head to Sri Lanka. We got our COVID tests, they all came back negative. We got our 3-hour flight across the ocean to another island paradise. That was easily the most stressful thing we've ever gone through in our time as digital nomads, and what a way to actually initiate ourselves into this way of life. What a huge blunder on my part, one that I'm still regretting to this day. And if I'm being completely honest with you, I don't think I'd be capable of going through it again. If I had my time again, I would have gone straight to Upwork and started browsing as fast as I could, looking for the best options. But at that time, it was so stressful that there was just no clarity in my mind. I had no idea what to do, nowhere to look. And the stress was just so immense that at that time I was having multiple breakdowns. With each time turning up to the airport and getting knocked back just seemed like it was never meant to leave the country, and I had no idea what to do. If you told me that I had to go through all of that again, to go through all of that stress, I just don't think that I could, even if it gets me this kind of lifestyle. The amount of stress and anxiety about heading to the airport, getting knocked back each and every time, is still something that haunts me to this day. Even with the removal of entry requirements to different countries, I still get so anxious every time we book a flight or we go to the airport, thinking that something might just go wrong. And only to this day, a year later, am I starting to notice the signs of relief. Don't get me wrong, I love this lifestyle. I love the places we've traveled to. But if you told me that that was the price of entry to go through that level of stress and to live those life events again, I just don't think I possibly could. Back in Melbourne, Australia, I was a personal trainer and a myotherapist, and Laura was a social worker for the last 10 years. We'd seen our fair share of opportunities through our careers, and we thought it was time for something completely different. As previously mentioned at the time, my business had shut down due to COVID, and the idea of traveling to a foreign country and starting a completely new career fascinated me. When I'd originally shut down the business and decided to head overseas, I had no idea that I'd be picking up where I left off, writing online. Within that first month of becoming a health blogger, I was writing 4 articles per week, totaling about 10,000 to 15,000 words, all while sitting outside in the tropical heat of Sri Lanka. It would seem that I'd officially found what I'd love to do. Now, don't get me wrong, I love being a myotherapist and a personal trainer and running a business, but the stress of running the business itself, the overheads, getting clients, and keeping up with everything on a day-to-day basis was incredibly stressful. Now, blogging is the complete opposite of that. There is no client interaction, there are long hours at the desk, reading, writing, and learning. How could this new career be what I've been looking for all these years? Blog writing allows me to simply wake up, go to the computer, and nail down a few hours before 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. My routine evolving over time, which requires great discipline, but it also gives me the freedom and flexibility to spend time with the family and go sightseeing. And on top of this, I find it so much easier to keep up with my deadlines and not have to worry about all the ins and outs that come with running a business. Now, with remote work becoming the norm in recent years, this was just a slight adjustment, which actually makes it feel like you're perpetually on holiday, as we can turn off our computers, step outside, spend time with each other, and visit different locations around the world. And now, this is not to say that there are no negatives with this kind of lifestyle, as many of you would have worked remotely during the height of the pandemic. If you've worked from home and your family's around, it's always easy to get distracted. Children will want help with certain things. They'll want you to get them food or help them with homeschooling, or your partner or friend's schedule won't match up with yours and they'll want to go to the nearest cafe for a morning tea break. Besides disruptions within the household, especially when you're working, you may also find it hard to make social connections. This is something you actively have to step out and pursue when you're traveling. For me personally, I'm naturally an introvert and I love working in front of the computer without distraction. But for Laura, she's a little bit different. She likes her quiet time, but also likes to go out and socialize. So when it comes to this kind of stuff, you have to make the effort because no one's going to make it for you. You've got to put yourself in those positions to go meet new people. This will help you keep your sanity. Plus, it'll give you the benefit of knowing people all around the world. Now, this next thing is a big reason why a lot of people turn their back on this lifestyle, and it's family. While we don't desire a conventional lifestyle, being away from family can be incredibly difficult, especially for our son. Prior to heading back to Australia for that 7-week break, it had actually been 18 months since we'd been back home. Not only was this difficult because we miss our family back home, but the financial stress that came with having to catch flights from Kansas City all the way back to Australia almost made us cancel the trip altogether. Now, to put this in perspective, going from Kansas City to Melbourne was actually going to cost us $8 grand. Now, fortunately for me, I've got Laura on my side and she's fantastic at booking these things. We check flights every single day, and only with 6 days left before having to leave the country did we book something, which paid off big time as we got our flights for $6,500 plus a stay in Hawaii. Now, we don't encourage this as it was incredibly stressful, but how rewarding that we could go back home to see our family. Plus we got to stop in at Hawaii, which had never been to before. And that has got to be one of the other major things, is the financial side. Sometimes you have to make these necessary moves to go visit family or go to different places around the world. And you just have to suck up the costs. But if your budgeting and your planning is correct, you'll be able to save money along the way. And lastly on the list, it's something that applies for me and for many people that are digital nomads, is always having to apply for contracts. As a freelance writer, I've been incredibly blessed to be able to pick up 2 different opportunities that were long-term contracts. However, during the course of the year, there are breaks, and that just means that I have to go and work a little bit harder to get those contracts. So that's some of the ins and outs of being a digital nomad. Now let's talk about where this lifestyle has taken us. So now, if none of those things faze you, then maybe this lifestyle is for you. So when we left Thailand and headed to Sri Lanka, we finally realized how much freedom we had. We'd arrived in Colombo, where we could just stay and relax for the next 7 days. And we're finally free of those visa issues which plagued our stay in Thailand the entire time. After our stay in Colombo, we headed down to Unawatuna in the south of Sri Lanka. There's an amazing beach there, bars, cafes and restaurants. Great place for tourists to go, and like-minded digital nomads like ourselves. It's here that we truly relaxed, enjoyed our time by the pool, and really settled into this new lifestyle of being digital nomads. From Unawatuna, we headed down to Marissa Beach, where we had the opportunity to send our son to preschool. We had an incredible time here, as it was one of the nicest spots in all of Sri Lanka. The beach there was fantastic, and there were again more restaurants and places to stay. Our accommodation for the next month only cost us $400. Even though it was just a room with 2 beds, bathroom and outdoor kitchen, it was more than enough for us. However, sadly, during this time, Sri Lanka was going through an economic crisis, which meant daily power cuts between 8 and 16 hours per day, food shortages and protests. It was with this that we decided that maybe this wasn't the place that we were meant to settle down long term. But fortunately for us, Laura was keeping out for our next destination when she came across trusted house sitting. And house sitting, if you don't know, is where you go stay at someone's place, look after their pets and their property while they go on holiday. For the next week, Laura kept on browsing and applying for locations all over the world. And fortunately for us, we landed the opportunity to go house sit in London for the next 5 weeks, which is visa free for 6 months for Australians. And to what seemed like a whirlwind, we booked accommodation, booked our flights, and we're off to the UK, which was amazing to us. After battling so many visa issues in Thailand, we were finally free to just move around England and Europe, traveling from London to France, catching the train up to Germany, and then another flight to Scotland, all house sitting through Europe. All these opportunities within an hour of each other, taking us completely by surprise. The ability to open up the app, secure a house sit, pack up our bags and move to the nearest country. It's just such an amazing feeling. After feeling locked down due to COVID restrictions and visa issues, what a relief it is to just be able to jump on a plane and hop over to the nearest country. And might I say, one of the best things of all is that we managed to keep on top of our deadlines the entire time, being able to transition smoothly from country to country and just pick up our work where we left off. What began as one of the hardest lessons to learn became one of the biggest blessings to us, as we've been able to travel freely, earning money, visiting different countries, different cities, and going all around the world. After working in our careers for the last 10 years, driving down the same roads, being stuck in the same traffic, we can't believe that we actually get to finally live this lifestyle. House sitting gives us the opportunity to travel to different destinations, some of which we'd never even heard of. With the biggest positive is that we get to stay there for extended periods of time, whether they're short stays, medium stays, or long stays, which allows us to take our time and experience the cities and locations as if we truly live there. And while there are downsides like missing family, daily disruptions, the cost of flights and travel, to us these are just some small challenges that come with living this kind of lifestyle. Being digital nomads definitely has its ups and downs, but after 2 years, 9 countries, 3 different continents, and visiting back home, it's hard to see us settling down anytime soon. So are you considering being digital nomads and living this kind of lifestyle? What are some of your concerns and some of the things that excite you? Leave a comment below. And if you're still sitting on the fence about being a digital nomad, why don't you click on this video here? This will show you some of the other cool experiences that we've had while we've been traveling. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm Ben from A Guide to Wanderlust. I'll see you next time.